Hello again. In this video, I'm going to show you how to enter an AP voucher entry. So what is an AP voucher? An AP voucher is essentially an invoice from your vendor. Typically, after you have issued a PO or a purchase order to your vendor, and after you have received the goods or services from your vendor, they would normally send you a bill or an invoice for those goods and services. You would then in turn enter these invoices from your vendors into our systems as vouchers. A voucher allows you to assign specific expense accounts to the transaction, and it allows you to schedule payments based on the vendor's terms accordingly. So to enter a new voucher, what you do is from the accounts payable module menu, select Enter AP Vouchers. And the first thing you need to do when entering a new voucher is to select a vendor from the list. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to use ABC Supplies. Okay, and the next thing you need to do, you notice that the voucher number is automatically assigned by the system. Next you want to put in is the invoice number. This is the invoice number from your vendor. So I'm going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now the system checks to see if this invoice is already in the system. To prevent duplication, certainly you don't want to pay the vendor twice for the same good or service. Next you want to put in the invoice date. So I'm going to use, let's say, September 2010. Okay, and the invoice amount, which is, let's say in this example, $1,000. Now you notice that the post date is automatically default to the current system date. However, it is important to note that you can change this post date, and this happens where you want to match the accounting period where the expense took place. What I mean by that is that typically this happens more frequently during the end of month transition period, where the vendor invoice date is in the new month, but the expense took place in the prior month. So you want to adjust this to match the actual accounting period where the expense took place. And if it is important to you to post the expense in the correct period so that the profit and loss is inclusive of this expense, then you need to enter the post date accordingly. And the due date in this case is based on the vendor's payments terms. So for this vendor, the terms is net 30 days with a 1% discount if paid within 10 days. Okay, the PO number, this is optional. You can enter your own PO number here. If it is a valid purchase order number, you will have the option to perform a PO price confirmation. Okay. Transaction memo is also optional. You can enter a brief note here relating to this voucher. Now in the lower section, or the voucher distribution line item section here, you can select and enter a specific account amount for each expense account. There's really no limit as to how many expense accounts you can enter for any given voucher. But as you can see here, the default expense account has already been assigned to this vendor, and when you select a vendor, this account is already automatically pulled up for you by the system, thus saving you time from re-entering this information and minimizing mistakes as well. Under the transaction memo column, you can enter a brief memo description of this line item. So you can put in, let's say, supplies. No, not the supplies. Let's say paper, for example. Okay, and the amount. Okay, 1,000. you do have again option to select additional expense account for this voucher, but in this example I'm going to just leave it at the total amount here. Now in the case where you have multiple expense accounts, the total distribution in this section here, the total has to match the voucher total up here. Otherwise the system will not let you save this transaction. And so finally, once you have all the figures entered and verified, all you have to do is click on Save to commit this transaction, and the system will prompt you. Let's say, okay, different voucher. Would you okay to continue? Yes. Okay. See, it's checking to see if there's a matching PO. Okay, and I can continue with this. Right. Okay, and it then prompts you to for another voucher. And in this case, if you answer yes, then you just simply repeat the same steps by going through and select, let's say, another vendor, and repeat this whole process of entering invoice number, invoice date, amount, and so on and so forth. And that concludes the training video on how to enter an AP voucher entry. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.